of the Bonds Barbershop brands, Mike Taylor Education, the Great British Barbering Academy, and author of the Mike Taylor Education Resource Book. Been a barber for nearly 30 years and I love it. Been teaching barbering for 15 years. So I've been around the circuit for a long time. And I absolutely love barbering, I love the trade, I love educating. So I really hope you've enjoyed this theory lesson and get what you need out of it. But if you don't, I'm the sort of guy I'm always happy to help. So drop me an email at info@miketayloreducation.com if there's any questions you need answered or anything you need to ask me at all. Anyway, enjoy the lesson.
Health and safety for Mike Taylor Education. Today's theory lesson to me is really important. Maybe the most important of all theory lessons. Health and safety to me is something that is pivotal in making you the best barber that you should be. Sometimes I feel with health and safety it's not taken seriously enough, which is a massive shame, and it's so vital and important that you do take it seriously. With health and safety, it's something that to me you will never be the best barber you can be if you don't know about health and safety. You'll never be a leader and you'll never be a business owner and be able to make the most out of your craft and your trade. Health and safety is vital for the safety of yourself and the safety of others around you. So please step back, get yourself a pen and paper and take as many notes as you can on this for your first assignment. If you are self-employed or an employer, you're responsible for the health and safety of your business and its clients. Health and safety laws are designed to ensure that you're working in a safe environment and that you reduce any risks to yourself, your staff and your clients. A lot of barbers are self-employed, so if you're self-employed, remember, it is up to you to control the health and safety around your environment and workplace. So personal hygiene and presentation. Cleanliness is one of the top factors men look for when choosing a barbershop. Personal hygiene refers to cleaning and caring for your body and is particularly important in the barbershop because we come into regular close contact with clients. So maintaining personal hygiene will reduce the risk of infection and cross-contamination. It gives you and the shop a professional image, avoids offending clients, and it will ensure the client will come back to you. So let's talk about personal hygiene. So first off, your body, what should you be doing? Bathing or showering daily, wearing clean clothes every day, and deodorant will risk the chance of having body odour, as well as that aftershave. It's pivotal that you do change, wash, launder your clothes daily and always come to work nice and presentable and clean. With your hair, keeping your hair clean and in style will show clients that you are capable of looking after your own hair. Hands should be cleaned before and after clients to remove dirt, hair clippings and products. So remember, before you start a client, you should be washing your hands, and after you finish a client, you should be washing your hands. And when you go on lunch, when you come back from lunch, loo breaks, it goes without saying. Nails should be kept neat, clean and tidy. No chipped nails, polish or no hairs underneath nails. Breath. Fresh breath is vital. Teeth must be cleaned, brushed twice a day and avoid strong smelling foods such as garlic, onion for lunch. Smoking. If you smoke, please be aware that a quick mint does not cover the smell of a cigarette, so timing is crucial. For instance, if you're about to do a facial service, shave or a beard trim, try to hold off as your client will not want to smell stale smoke throughout a service and they will not return. And to me, the most complaints I get is from clients that say, he stunk of smoke, she stunk of smoke when they're doing a shave. There's nothing more off-putting than someone with their fingers of stale smoke putting it near the client's nose. So a mint's just not good enough. So if you do smoke, choose your fag breaks at the right times and then make sure you've got some citrus cleaning soap to get rid of the smell straight afterwards. And also think about your clothes. Maybe take a jacket out with you so that your shirt that you're wearing to work won't stink of the fag smoke. Personal presentation. Clothes. Some barbershops may have uniforms, branded tops or coloured coats. However, in some barbershops you can wear what you like. Either way, it's part of the job to get covered in hair. So it is important that you separate your work clothes from other clothes. And with that, what I want to go into, I don't like jumpers in the barbershop. I think the hairs stick to jumpers. And I can't understand why anyone would want other people's hairs on their clothing when they get home. So think about your clothing for work. Like, to me, a good trouser we can brush off the hair, or a jean, and t-shirts, shirts, stuff that the hair can come off, it can be washed and you can be clean. Do not wear tracksuit bottoms. The hairs will embed themselves in them, and you will never be able to get rid of the hairs properly. And do you really want to walk around with other people's hair stuck to you? So always think when buying clothes, what's for the barbershop and what's for home. Try and separate your clothes. Jewellery accessories. We are part of the fashion industry, so our image should reflect that. It is important that the image we present reflects our individual personality. Personal protective equipment, PPE. For your client, it is important that your client is wearing sufficient PPE. As a minimum, the protective materials for clients are gown, towel, cutting collar, neck strips, tissues, eye pads for beard trimming. Client PPE required is to maintain client comfort, avoid irritation caused by hair clippings, protect their clothing, avoid cross-infection. The personal protective equipment PPE for yourself. There are some services where you'll be required to wear PPE. Gloves are required when using a razor to reduce the risk of cross-infection. Also, some barbers will wear gloves when shampooing to protect their hands from the risk of dermatitis. Apron. Some barbers would choose to wear an apron to protect their clothes from hair clippings. And again, I know I say it all the time, but glove up. If you're using a razor, make sure you're wearing gloves. Positioning. In a barbershop, having the correct barber chair with a head and footrest and a reclining back will ensure maximum comfort to your clients. Recline the chair for facial hair services. Ensure that you stand correctly and avoid overstretching. Keep your legs straight and feet slightly apart to maintain balance and even weight distribution. Use the chair pump to increase and decrease the height of the chair rather than leaning over or stretching. Ensure your client is positioned correctly will ensure they don't fidget or move around. It is vital that you work on a barber chair, because barber chairs will take the weight of a gentleman and you can move them in the correct position. I've worked for a long time in a barber shop, and I've worked with barbers, myself included, that suffered with bad backs, from strains, from sometimes not working in the correct position. So for longevity out of your job, get used to it straight away, of your clients being in the right position and you being in the right position. Keeping your work area clean and tidy. Keeping your work area clean and tidy will create a professional image for yourself and your barbershop. A cleaner work area will have less hazards, including hair on the floor, trailing wires, dirty tools and equipment. Dirty work areas are also less hygienic and more likely to spread infections and infestations. So positioning your tools for ease of use. Positioning your equipment for ease of use is important to ensure that you are well organised and ready for your client. It also looks very professional for your client. At the beginning of the day, set up your tools and equipment on your workstation and clean and sterilise them ready for use. If they're set up on your workstation, they'll be available when you need them, and ensure that you work efficiently throughout the service, not wasting time looking for different tools. What's the difference between cleaning and disinfecting and sterilising? Cleaning is the process visibly removing dirt, grease and debris. Thorough cleaning is required before disinfecting or sterilising. Disinfecting reduces the number of germs and bacteria so they are not harmful to health. Sterilising is used to destroy or eliminate all forms of microbial life, fungi, viruses and all forms of bacteria. Keeping the tools and equipment clean, sterilised and well maintained. Tools and equipment should be an investment for barbers, as they will be in frequent use. It is vital that your tools and equipment are kept clean, sterilised and well maintained. They should be cleaned and sterilised after every use to ensure they are kept in good condition and minimise the risk of cross-infection. Clipper maintenance. Some basic clipper care and maintenance will ensure your clippers perform the best. Keep the clippers clean and sterilised. Brush off hair clippings after use and use sterilising spray such as Andis Clipper Care. Check the blades are aligned. The moving blade must not protrude beyond the edge of the steel blade or they will cut your client's skin. This is so important. Visually check your clippers before any cut, especially if you move about. If you move about the barbershop, or maybe you take your clippers home with you, do homework, I don't know. But clippers don't travel well, so always visually check your blades. Oil regularly. Not after every cut, as it will clog up the blades, but when you do oil, just apply a drop to each side of the blade and a couple of drops in the middle and turn the clippers on to spread the oil across the blades. Always wipe it before you start a haircut. Scissor maintenance. Some basic care and maintenance will ensure your scissors perform the best. Keep the scissors clean and sterilised. Brush off hair clippings after use, sterilise after use. Keep your blades sharp. Scissors need to be sharpened by a professional to keep cutting well. By a professional, I mean it's best practice to normally send them to a professional company. Don't trust anyone that just walks into your barbershop. Oil regularly. Use oil as necessary. Apply a drop of oil to the pivot of the scissors. Again, always wipe over before use. Sterilising. There are many options for sterilising your tools and equipment, including concentrate sprays and wipes. Most common in the barbershop is concentrate liquid, which is diluted with water in jars. The minimum contact time depends on the brand and the product, so ensure you read the manufacturer's instructions. And this is so important because, for instance, let's take it for Barbicide, that's 10 minutes it needs to be in. But there is other brands on the market that boast it's less. But when you pick the brand you're going to use, make sure you're using that brand as you're supposed to. Removal of waste. It is important that waste materials are disposed of according to your barbershop and legal requirements. Used blades should be disposed of in a properly labelled yellow sharps box. They must not be wrapped up and disposed of in general waste. Hair clippings and disposable PPE such as neck strips should be placed in a lidded bin. Chemicals such as sterilised solution should be diluted with plenty of warm water and rinsed down the sink. Avoiding cross-infection and cross-contamination. As professionals, it is vital that we do what we can to avoid cross-infection and cross-contamination to ensure that the reputation of the barbershop is maintained, to reduce the risk of passing infections or infestations between clients. Contact dermatitis. Working in the hairdressing and barbering trade puts us at high risk of suffering from contact dermatitis. Dermatitis is a skin inflammation caused by exposure to allergens and irritants that cause the skin to become red, blistered, dry, scaly and cracked. To help minimise the risk of developing dermatitis, ensure you dry your hands thoroughly after contact with water, wear gloves when handling chemicals, wash and dry hands after clients to remove product, moisturise your hands regularly. Musculoskeletal problems. Many barbers report musculoskeletal problems due to being on their feet the majority of the day. To minimise the risk of developing musculoskeletal problems, ensure that you keep your good posture, adjust your chair height, place your tools for easy use and take regular breaks. Like I said at the start, health and safety is massively important and it is important for you and your clients. And you've got to look after yourself because if you don't look after yourself, your barbering career will be over very short. So taking regular breaks and taking time out so that you're just not constantly in the same position will be the best thing you can do. Hazards and risks. A hazard is something with the potential to cause harm, something that may cause harm. A risk is the likelihood of the hazard's potential being realised, the risk of a hazard actually happening. So for an example, a trailing lead from a hairdryer is a hazard. If it's trailing across a client, it has a high risk of someone tripping over it. But if it's safely out of the way of the client, the risk is much less. General barbershop rules to reduce risks. Keep the barbershop clean and tidy. Clean and sterilise your tools and equipment after every client. Always wear gloves when shaving. Sweep up hair clippings after every client. Wear correct and adequate PPE. Always wear gloves when shaving. Maintain a high standard of personal hygiene. Dispose of waste correctly. Health and safety law. In the UK, the law applies to all businesses regardless of their size. If you are an employer or self-employed, you are responsible for the health and safety of your business. Even if you don't employ anyone, you legally have a duty of care to anyone who is affected by what you do, including clients and members of the public. You can find more information about this at www.hse.gov.uk or www.iosh.co.uk. Legislations relevant to barbering. By law, you must have a health and safety policy, risk assessments in place, health and safety training for staff, adequate welfare facilities, a first aid kit, plans for accidents and first aid, the health and safety law poster and of course insurance. Health and Safety at Work Act 1974. Employers are responsible for providing safe systems of work without risk to health. The Personal Protective Equipment at Work Regulations 1992 PPE. Employers are responsible for providing suitable PPE. In the average barbershop, PPE will include gowns, towels, neck strips, gloves. Control of Substances Hazardous to Health Regulations 2002, also known as COSH. Employers must prevent to reduce exposure to hazardous substances in the workplace. Everyone should be aware of how to store, handle, use and dispose of these products. Manual Handling Operations Regulations 1992. These regulations require that certain measures must be taken when manual handling and lifting to avoid skeletal and muscular injuries. Reporting of Injuries, Diseases and Dangerous Occurrences Regulations 2013, RIDDOR. RIDDOR places a legal duty to report work-related deaths, major injuries or injuries lasting over 3 days, work-related diseases, dermatitis for instance, dangerous occurrences, near-miss accidents. Electricity at Work Regulations 1989. All electrical equipment must be adequately maintained and regularly checked for electrical safety. The check must be carried out by a competent person, preferably a qualified electrician, and is called PAT testing. And a written record of these tests should be kept. Fire Precautions Workplace Regulations 1997. A responsible person should carry out a fire risk assessment and ensure that precautions are implemented based on the results. As a result of the assessment, there must be policy in place which aims to minimise the risk of fire, provides means of escape and take preventative action. General Data Protection Regulations 2018. Data must be kept safe, secure, accurate and relevant to your needs. Individuals must give clear consent to use their personal data and how they are happy for it to be used, and they have the right to be forgotten, which means you must remove their data when requested. Every business must have a data protection officer and a privacy policy that explains exactly how individuals' personal details will be used and stored. COVID-19. We are adding this slide because of what is happening around the world at the moment. We're still waiting for clear instructions from the government about what will happen when we finally get back to work. But we think there will be definitely self-distancing, probably 2 meters apart. We think that we'll be going back to an appointment-based system. I think no longer will the barbershop be offering people just to come and sit and wait. I think that they'll be using an appointment-based system so that it's just a one in, one out system to the barbershop, so there's not so many people crowding in there to minimise risk. We also think you'll probably be offering cashless payments, and cash will be deemed and looked bad upon. The reason for this, again, cash does hold a lot of germs, and cashless payments will be so much safer. Cleaning and sterilising. This should be getting done anyway, but this will be paramount. That your chair is cleaned thoroughly, your gown is cleaned thoroughly, the correct PPE is being used, and all of your tools and equipment are cleaned before use. And it's going to be impossible to just do your normal service with the same tools. You will need to have another set of tools to make sure you're using the correct sterilising methods between each cut. And again, adequate PPE for your clients and for yourself. Again, this will cut down the risk of contracting the virus.